Broadcasting live from Dar es Salaam, this is TBC News, our top stories. Eyasi Wambere Basin oil exploration gains momentum. Tanzania's energy efficiency excels as NIS pays off.
We have already started to implement the demand-side management, which is in relation to energy efficiency program.
Good evening, I am Teddy Paranyanga. You can also follow us live via YouTube channel TBC Online and also get all the latest news through our Instagram, Facebook and X pages at TBC Online. The government in the financial year 2024-2025 through the Tanzania Petroleum Development Corporation, TPDC, has allocated more than 43 billion shillings for fostering oil and natural gas research in the Eyasi Wambere Basin in the Eastern Rift Valley that runs through 5 regions of Arusha, Simiyu, Singida, Shinyanga, and Tabora. According to the Eyasi Wambere Basin Oil Research Project Manager from TPDC, Senior Geophysicist Cindy Maduhu says the continuation of the oil and natural gas research will focus more on the regions of Arusha, Simiyu, and Singida by gathering more details on areas for natural gas extraction. Here's a report by Dr. Elias from Tabora, read by Ivan Gaga.
Since 2015, the Tanzania Petroleum Development Corporation, TPDC, has been conducting oil and natural gas research in the Eyasi Wambere block in the East Rift Valley, involving the Manonga, Sibiti, Lake Eyasi, and Kitangiri rivers in the regions of Arusha, Simiyu, Singida, Shinyanga, and Tabora.
Eneo hili linashabihiana sana na maeneo mengine.
This area is similar to other neighboring countries such as Kenya and Uganda. As you may know, Kenya and Uganda have discovered oil.
According to researchers from the corporation, instead of using plane technology, they are currently using vehicles, plants weighing more than 50 tons that vibrate the surface of the earth using steel weighing 27 tons, and the vibrations travel more than 4 kilometers under the ground.
Tuliingia mkataba na mkandarasi.
We have a contract with the African Geophysical Services, who is the contractor, in order to get more information about the underground locks.
Senior geophysicist Musa Nalongwa mentions the technology and equipment that will be used during the oil and natural gas research in Lake Eyasi.
Njia ya kwanza ni njia inaitwa air guns.
The first method is called the air guns, and the second way is by using explosive, which can be buried under water. We do all of this by following advice from environmental experts, since one has to be careful in a lake area like this.
According to senior geophysicist Madhu, the research is being conducted in a professional manner, hoping the results to be fruitful. The continuation of oil and natural gas exploration in the Eyasi Wambere block is expected to be completed in 2027.
Energy Commissioner from the Ministry of Energy, Engineer Innocent Luoga, says Tanzania has reduced the power demand and loss from 21% in 2018 to 14% this year, 2024, following the government starting to implement National Energy Efficiency Strategy Plan for the efficient use of energy. Speaking at the conference on the best use of energy for East African countries, EAC and SADC, which will be held in Arusha on December 4th and 5th, the Energy Commissioner, Engineer Luoga, adds that the conference aims to set standards for electric devices such as refrigerators, computers, and electric stoves, as well as exchange experiences on the best use of energy and environmental protection, a statement supported by energy stakeholders in the country.
We are going to exchange the understanding of how to implement energy efficiency program, because you know some of the countries they are very far on this, but for us through our national power utility TANESCO, we have already started to implement the demand side management, which is in relation to energy efficiency program. So bringing more than 400 stakeholders of different expertise it will be advantage for Tanzanian, because now we are going to exchange experience, knowledge, but also from there we are going to share now knowledge on how to implement the energy efficiency program.
EAC and the SADC playing a role on standards, harmonization. It can really push forward the agenda. And at the end of the day, like the commissioner said, you save money, you save production costs, you save transmission costs, you save distribution costs, and it's good for the planet. So everybody wins.
The National Energy Efficiency Strategy Plan for Tanzania is funded by the European Union and implemented by the Ministry of Energy in collaboration with the United Nations Development Organization, UNDP, pushing for large industries, government institutions, and ordinary citizens to put into practice the efficient use of energy so as to reduce cost of living as well as protect the environment. The Minister of Foreign Affairs and East African Cooperation, Ambassador Mahmoud Thabit Kombo, has visited the Embassy of Tanzania in Cuba, urging the embassy officials to fully implement the goals set on behalf of the government, especially the implementation of the economic diplomacy policy by tapping on various opportunities available in the country, such as business, investment, and tourism. Furthermore, Ambassador Kombo has congratulated the officials for the reception of the Tanzanian delegation that continues to arrive in Havana, as well as the preparation for state visit of the President of the United Republic of Tanzania, Samia Suluhu Hassan, including the preparation of the venue for the Kiswahili International Conference, which is expected to bring together about 400 participants and will be held in Havana from November 8, 2024, to be graced by President Samia Suluhu Hassan. And on to the next news. A Morogoro-based aircraft manufacturer, Airplanes Africa Limited, has manufactured a total of 4 aircrafts so far, with 3 of them have already found local buyers in the country. Speaking before the delegation of the advisory board of the airport authorities in the country, the factory technical leader, John Haule, says the aircrafts had the ability to stay in the air for 7 hours and will continue to be manufactured in this country according to the needs.
Ndege hizi zinaweza kuchukua watu wawili.
These airplanes can carry 2 passengers. There are a lot of 4 planes so far. One plane consumes up to 120 liters of oil. We have already received the orders for these planes. We are now waiting for them to come and purchase. You can use these planes depending on your needs. People with the larger farms can use these planes for irrigation. Also, for those people who conduct sea surveys can use these planes.
Kwanza ni kwamba kwa hizi ndege kwanza kutengenezwa hapa ina maana.
One of the advantage of having these planes is that small-scale businessmen in the transportation sector can purchase these planes at an affordable price. Before that, these planes were imported from abroad. This means the cost of importation has been reduced. The presence of this industry will lead to a new wave of technicians and pilots as well. As the Tanzanian Airports Authority, TAA, we urge these investors to invest in the aviation sector. This is because our country has high level of security in the aviation sector.
Deputy Prime Minister and the Minister for Energy, Dr. Biteko, says in order for Tanzania to benefit properly from strategic minerals, the critical minerals value chain must be enhanced, guided by the regulatory policies and reforms instead of being exported raw. Here's a report by Linus Gamara, read by Five Ngaga.
Mining Forum has been held in the city of Dodoma, where the Deputy Prime Minister, Dr. Biteko, begins by reassuring the nation's commitment to continue to improve the small-scale miners' working conditions and income.
You have to deal with the small-scale miners so that they can be empowered. In the past, small-scale miners contributed only 4% in revenue collection. Today, we have the great news from the Minister. About 40% of small-scale miners. This means only 10% remains for them to compete with the larger-scale miners.
Furthermore, He speaks of the issue of renewable energy.
Kwa madini mkakati yanayotumika kuzalisha battery.
My call is that we should seek for the best way to produce electricity using strategic minerals such as uranium. If we have uranium, then it should not just be transported abroad. Instead, we may export some of it, but the remaining has to be used here.
Initially, while welcoming the official guest of honor, Minister of Minerals Anthony Mavunde said Tanzania has stamped its mark in the world map on renewable energy.
Na mahitaji makubwa yakielekezwa katika madini ya kinywe,
and great demand being directed at the processing of graphite minerals, which are demanded worldwide for batteries of electricity vehicles. We have 12 licenses which have not started operation. Once they start operation, Tanzania will be leading in graphite production in Africa.
The mineral sector is amongst the economic sectors that we depend on, and we continue to make them stronger in our region, Dodoma. The issue of transparency in mining contracts was also emphasized.
Serikali iendelee kuongeza fursa na mitaji, kuimarisha uwazi katika sekta.
The government should continue to increase opportunities and capital funds, increase transparency in this sector, condemn acts of corruption and violations of laws and human rights, so that these resources can benefit our citizens.
In the fiscal year 2023-2024, the mining sector contributes 56% of the total country's export.
Tanzanians have been encouraged to seize business and economic opportunities arising from the tourism and cultural partnership between Tanzania and China. Speaking at the Tanzania Ni Hao China Tourism event in Dar es Salaam, Dastan Kitandola, the Deputy Minister of Natural Resources and Tourism of Tanzania, emphasized that the 60 years of diplomatic ties between Tanzania and China have created promising investment opportunities, urging investors and financial sectors to take advantage of the opportunities provided by the exchange in technology and skills.
Niwapongeze na kuishukuru serikali ya watu wa China na ubalozi wa China nchini Tanzania.
I would like to extend my congratulations and gratitude to the government of the People's Republic of China and the Chinese Embassy in Tanzania for organizing this event, which has brought together important stakeholders in tourism industry from both Tanzania and China. I believe that we have gained a valuable opportunity to network and build business and tourism connection between us. We expect that the tourism sector will make significant progress, particularly in increasing the number of tourists and opening up business opportunity in tourism. Today's event demonstrates that the great potential in our partnership to promote tourism and boost investment. With great respect, I would like to take this opportunity to encourage investors from various sectors, including finance and business institutions from both China and Tanzania, to invest in the opportunities available in both of our countries.
To co-host China-Tanzania Tourism and Culture Year is one of the important fruits of the state visit of Her Excellency the President Samia Suluhu Hassan to China in November 2022. The two heads of state jointly announced that the year 2024, that is this year, would be the year of tourism and culture for both sides in order to strengthen people-to-people, cultural, academic, and the medium exchange to carry forward the friendship between the two peoples. Today's event is one of the measures with this regard.
Tanzania Revenue Authority and the Zanzibar Bureau of Standards, ABS, have signed a memorandum of understanding agreement with the aim of sharing information and integrating information systems to increase efficiency on delivery of cargo entering the islands through the port of Zanzibar. While signing the agreement in Dar es Salaam, the TRA Chief Commissioner Yusuf Mwenda says the alliance will improve commercial operations by reducing cargo delivery time and port congestion.
The number of importers who are using the TRA Zanzibar, that will be shared. The quantity and the types of goods that they are importing, that will be shared. And of course, that will help them to know whether that is restrictive goods or prohibited goods. And if it's not, they're in which conditions before they're allowed to be consumed by the ordinary people in Zanzibar. This is just going to fast track, but everything is in control. We just want to, we have automated to improve the speed, to improve the clearance. So in other way, we are going to improve our efficiency. But even in absence of this, it doesn't mean nothing was done. We were doing everything, and now we are going to double the efficiency.
On the other hand, the Zanzibar Bureau of Standards, ZBS, Director General Yusuf Majid, says the collaboration will allow ZBS to list all cargo importers in the islands using the taxpayer's number, insisting the move will boost trade.
Commissioner General has said the first is to make sure we fast track in terms of clearance of the cargo in Zanzibar, but also to add up on compliance. We had a problem before in terms of compliance on whatever comes in and whatever goes out in Zanzibar. So that will also strengthen, but also we will make sure that whoever imports goods in Zanzibar, he will be identified through the portal of TRA with the tax identification number, what we call TIN. So whoever that will import or export goods must be first registered with TRA in terms of TIN. That will guarantee two issues. First, to make sure that the taxes through TRA are corrected, but also what we call fees and charges on our part are collected. But lastly is to make sure that whatever comes in or goes out is of the quality and compliance according to the standard of Zanzibar and the country in large.
An aircraft with 305 tourists have arrived in Zanzibar from the Netherlands. Zanzibar's Minister for Tourism and Heritage, Modric Saraga, terms it as a major milestone in the island's efforts to boost the tourism sector in Zanzibar, while the Deputy Ambassador of the Netherlands Embassy in Tanzania, Marianne van der Leden, insists that the future is brighter for the Tanzania-Netherlands tourism ties.
As TUI, we are very happy to be able to have a direct flight again between Amsterdam and Zanzibar. We truly believe in Zanzibar as a fantastic tourism destination, and we hope that the future can bring us quite some growth for Zanzibar, for tourism and for TUI. We thank everybody here, the local authorities, to support in the launch of this first flight, and we hope it is first one of many to come. Looking at Zanzibar, Zanzibar has great opportunities. You have the culture, you have the heritage, you have the fantastic nature, but also the hospitality of the people in Zanzibar is so important and so valued by our guests.
I think the new direct flight from Amsterdam to Zanzibar will really be a boost for tourism to Zanzibar. I think Dutch people generally like to travel, like to explore the world. So I think there's great interest to travel to Zanzibar, not only to the island, but especially also for the combination with the safaris going from Zanzibar. So yeah, I think it will be a boost in tourism with the two directly flights from Amsterdam. Well, let's see how it develops and whether in future there might even be more.
Tonight on Who's Your Leader, we dive into the qualities that define exceptional leadership. Reba Stevens speaks with Ben Odwan, a leadership consultant and managing director of Y Lead Consultancy Limited, about leadership journey and insights into what makes a great leader.
What makes a good leader? Different people will answer different questions. In fact, I host a podcast called Why Lead? And the first episode that we did, we were asking this question. What is the best leadership style? There are so many leadership styles out there, right? Some are autocratic leaders, some are democratic leaders, some are transformational leaders. What is the best leadership style? And we did a review of so many styles, and at the end, the conclusion was very simple. Leadership is contextual, which means that the context that you're in will determine the kind of leadership that is appropriate to get you the results that you are looking for. So taking that in consideration, I would say that for me, a good leader is someone who is self-aware, which means they're aware of their strengths, their weaknesses. Someone who is context aware, which means they know the environment and the context that they're in, because again, leadership is contextual, so you understand your context. And then the third one is that you are value driven, which means you have a set of values that you use to guide your behavior. Why is that important? Because if you have values, then we can predict your behavior, which means we can trust you as a leader, right? And so those are some of the more fundamental ones. And then of course, things like courage, because to make decisions, you have to sometimes say no to 10 things and say yes to one thing. That takes courage. But also, of course, the other one is communication. You have to be able to communicate the vision. You have to be able to communicate decisions. You have to be able to communicate so many things as a leader. And so the better you are at communicating, the easier your job becomes. What are the qualities of a leader? And are these qualities developed when leaders are born, or are they developed because of nurturing, be it your parents, the schools you went to, the university you went to, and organizations you've worked for? So, as I mentioned, for me, the 5 fundamental skills of a leader is self-awareness, context awareness, being value-driven, having courage, and being able to communicate. And so all these 5 skills are nurtured. There are many different styles of leadership. Authoritarian leadership, that's a style of leadership. And sometimes the context requires you to make those kinds of decisions. There are tough decisions that need to be made, and someone has to make that decision, and you make that decision, right? So it's not unleadership-like. It's just one way of leading. There are many other ways of leading, and each context will call for a different approach when it comes to leadership. I think sometimes taking this black and white approach to leadership is what creates a lot of challenges and confusions. But I think if you look at leadership simply as an art and allowing the context to dictate what needs to happen, then it becomes much easier for you to borrow different things from different approaches to leadership.
Before we conclude the local news tonight, let us take a look at the exchange rates according to the Bank of Tanzania, BOT. And that was exchange rates. Up next is international news. As American citizens are going to the polls to choose their next leader, we are joined by Professor Peter Mhando, who lives in the Washington, D.C., giving us an update on what is going on there.
Oh, finally, the D-Day is here, and American people are thronging to the polling stations to cast their votes. Some have already casted their votes through mail-in ballots. As many people think it's going to take a while to get the final results, but early results would definitely give an indication as to where the results are headed. If early polling is any indication, there is a small village in New Hampshire which opened the polls at past midnight, and there were 6 voters. Of the 6 voters, 3 casted for Vice President Harris, and 3 casted for former President Trump. Just to let you know, in the same village in 2016, President Trump won, I believe, 4-2. In 2020, Joe Biden won 5-1. So it is a tight race. That's an indication that it is a tight race. And it will take a while. It's now around 10 a.m. on the East Coast of the United States, which is about 7 in the West Coast in California. So it's going to take until around 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to be able for all the polls to close and the votes to be tallied. So it's going to be a long night, but I'm optimistic that we will know the winner sooner rather than later.
And now let us join Lulua Mohammed for other latest international news.
The voting for the presidential seats in the U.S. has begun today, where millions of citizens have casted their votes at the polling stations in 50 states. Both candidates, Kamala Harris of the Democrat and Donald Trump of the Republican, have vowed to improve the nation's economy. 160 million people registered to vote are expected to participate in the election to vote for the successor of President Joe Biden, who is ending his term of office this year. 70 million people have voted ahead the election day. The total will get 270 votes. The U.S. citizens are also voting for 34 senators and 435 members of the House of Representatives. Nigerian President Bola Tinubu has ordered the immediate release of all minors currently facing trial for taking part in cost of living protests. The announcement was made by the Minister of Information and puts an end to weeks of public outrage. According to the charge sheet, the minors ranged in age from 14 to 17 years old. And about 50 outbound flights have been cancelled and 17 incoming flights have diverted at Barcelona's El Prat airport due to rainstorm in Spain. Barcelona is under a red alert for rain, where the experts warn is the same storm which caused catastrophic flooding in Spain's Valencia region last week.
That was international news. Sports news up next. In sports news, Simba Sports Club head coach Fadlu Davids believes that the match between his side and KMC will be tough as they are playing at the same home ground, KMC complex, in the ongoing Tanzania Premier League. Speaking towards the Titanic clash, Coach Davids added that they have been training hard ahead to the match and players are well motivated, ready to beat their opponent, while KMC coach says they'll use home advantage to beat Simba and snatch more points.
It's a battle of the pitches, but also a battle of football, because their coach is very progressive. Their coach is a coach that likes to play from the back and believes in modern football. So it's going to be an important a lesson for our players how to approach this game.
So we're going to go for the win. You know, it's a league game and we want the 3 points. And it's a good opportunity for the guys to go and compete. It's going to be tough. It's not going to be easy. I think the feel of the game for us will be like a away Champions League game. You know, when you go in a hostile crowd, hostile environment, you have to be very careful.
Simba has collected 22 points after 9 matches and sits at the third place in the Tanzania Premier League table, while their rival KMC have collected 14 points after playing 10 matches and sits at the 6th place of the league table. Community development stakeholders in the country plan to provide education to the community on sexual violence issues through a special marathon that will be held in Zanzibar at the beginning of the next month. The coordinator of the GBV marathon, Asma Mwinyi, says the current strategy is to use sports to provide education on fitness and health issues, and that through the marathon, the community can be well reached. The official guest of honor in the GBV marathon is expected to be Prime Minister Kassim Majaliwa, as all Tanzanians are encouraged to participate. And that is sports news. And now, before we conclude the news bulletin for tonight, let us take a look at the weather forecast for the next 24 hours.
Hello, and welcome again to the next 24 hours of forecast, starting tonight at 9 p.m. From Tanzania Meteorological Authority, my name is Ramadan Omari. Wind is expected to flow at 20 kilometers per hour over the entire coast, Lake Victoria, Tanganyika, and the Lake Nyasa. And the state of the sea is expected to be slight. Now, rainfall models are showing signal of rainfall over some areas of our country, especially over Lake Victoria Basin, western part of our country, and the northern coast. And tonight, areas along Lake Victoria Basin and western part of our country are expected to feature partly cloudy conditions, thunder showers over a few areas. And the remaining regions are expected to feature partly cloudy conditions. And tomorrow, areas along Lake Victoria Basin and the western part of our country are expected to feature partly cloudy conditions, thunder showers over a few areas, and sun periods. Over Northeastern Highland and the Southwestern Highland, we are expecting to feature partly cloudy condition, light to rain showers over a few areas and sun periods. Over the Northern Coast and the Morogoro region, we are expecting to feature partly cloudy condition, rain showers over a few areas and sun periods. Central areas, together with Southern Coast and the Ruvuma region, we are expecting to feature partly cloudy condition and the sun periods. And now, let's have a look on the next weather forecast over some regions of our country. In the lesser, light to moderate rain are expected in some areas. In Dodoma, maximum temperature is expected to be 32 degrees Celsius. In Mbeya, maximum temperature is expected to be 26 degrees Celsius. In Mwanza, thunder showers are expected in some areas. Kilimanjaro region, we are expecting light rain showers in some areas, especially day after tomorrow. In Moro region, we are expecting light to moderate rains over some areas. And in Arusha region, we are expecting maximum temperature to be 29 up to 30 degrees Celsius. From Tanzania Meteorological Authority, that is all for today. Thank you for watching and goodbye.
And that marks the end of the news bulletin for tonight. Do not miss our next bulletin in Kiswahili at 11 p.m. On behalf of the whole team, I am Teddy Mpanyanga. Have a lovely, lovely night.